He robbed. Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
You see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home, only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage is safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in his dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. Devils design fire for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
You see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home, only a place of captivity, save facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting, the trail of my tears is countless. Main fact of them here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angels, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be, slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash, get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
Do you see just how it feels? Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slim. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in his dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. There was design 5 for our babies to pass through. In the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
Do you see just how it feels? Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So that you said that they put millions of my people. Yes, you said so.
Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't?
Yeah. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Hashem Yahushua Barakathum. Yahweh Shamar Alathan Ba'Shem Yahushua. I am priest and also Tawashav of the Isupk. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And we've been teaching the truth of the Bible since 1969. And as usual, today is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class. So every Tuesday we broadcast live out here in Orlando, Florida. So if you're in the Central Florida area, we're in Hart Memorial Library, 211 East Dakin Avenue from 6:30 to 8:30 every single Tuesday. All right, so make sure y'all stop on by. All right, being that it's Brotherhood, we're going to jump into topics pertaining to Brotherhood. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You know what I'm saying? I want to big up my main man, Trooper Canuck, in the building as well, holding it down out of Orlando.
Hey, how about you, man? Shalom,
Shalom, good to have you on, boy.
The water for having me, sir.
Christ. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get it going. We'll dive into the topic. We got a couple topics I want to touch on today. All right, starting with building back the Black family. All right. what we got to understand is the reason why our families are in the state that they're in today, right? We all have to understand what's the root and the cause of this problem, right? And there's a lot of debate going on, especially on social media, about who's to blame in regards to the black man and the black woman, right? The black woman is saying the black man ain't nothing. He's worthless. If he ain't got this, I don't need him. The black man is saying, well, the black woman is this. She's a feminist now. She's this. I don't need her. I'm a passport boy or whatever they call it. You know what I'm saying? And we're going back and forth, harming each other verbally and, degrading each other, not really understanding the root of this problem, right? So the thing is, well, in order to fix this and get to the solution, right, we first have to identify that the way we treat each other, the way we interact, right, when it comes to relationships and with morality, right, majority of it stems from society standards, right? This current society standards, they set the precedence of how we treat each other within our community, right? Now we got to examine who's in control of today's society, right? Who's in control of the media? Who's in control of the music you listen to? Who's in control of your whole entire life, right? And the thing is, certain things that we go through cause us to have a hardened heart, right? This captivity and the cruelty that we've been under, will push us to be cruel to each other, right? But what we have to do is go back to our history and find out who we were prior to coming here in slavery, prior to us learning the language of our slave master, prior to us celebrating the holidays of our slave master, prior to us practicing the religions of our slave masters. You know what I'm saying? Because all these things is a byproduct of the current state that we're in right now. So if we want to get to the solution, what we have to do is jump all the way back to the beginning, right? To our culture and how we interact according to who we are. All right. Headquarters in the building.
Shalom, sir. Y'all about Shimel Shabbat.
Shalom, y'all about Shabbat. What's going on, warrior? Good to have you on.
Come on, sir.
Damn right. Give it up. Somebody in the building, West Palm Beach. All right, we got a whole school down there, right? If you're in West Palm, Palm Beach, Broward, Fort Myers, if you nearby West Palm, man, make sure you stop by the building. The brothers in the building every day of the week. You know what I'm saying? Breaking down these scriptures, all right? All right, so we're going to dive into that first, building back the black family. I want to first start with Mark chapter 10. And let me get verse 2. Right, because it's very important that we focus on building up back the black family, right? And when I say black, of course, I'm talking about Hispanic and Native Indian as well, right? Because we all make up the 12 tribes of Israel, right? But it's very important that we build back the black family, right? Because what does a nation consist of? What is a nation collection of? We talked about this a couple of times. Wait, little man got the answer?
Nah, he ain't got the answer.
You about to chime in? What is a collection of?
What you said, a nation? So like you said, a nation, sir?
Yeah. A nation is a collection of what?
People.
Right. Which is true, right? You have men, women, children, right? What is that? Put them all together into a group and have a collection
family.
of them. A family, right? A family, right? A nation is a collection of families, right? Right. This is what we're establishing here in the ISUPK. This is not a social club. This is not a Bible club, a Bible study club. What we're trying to do is rebuild our nation, right? And in order to rebuild our nation, we first have to start at the foundation of our nation, and that is with the families, right? So what we have to do is make sure that each and every household has a man or a father figure in that household, right? We have to make sure that each and every household that the women are being, guided and taken care of as well too. You know what I'm saying? Each and every household, we got to make sure that our children are being guided properly. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the rank and order that the Lord set up. That the man is in charge, the woman follows after, and the children under that. You know what I'm saying? But being, like I mentioned, due to the cruelty of this current society that Black people had to face for over 400 years, that whole order got disrupted. You know what I'm saying? Now our families are left without a father figure in the household. You know what I'm saying? Our families are having our mothers not caring for the children or not even humbling herself and being submissive to that man. And now also our families are, is having, this society is having our families, where our children is running around in the streets, feeling like they can do whatever they want to do, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't have that support system that's needed within their household, right? So in order to get to the solution, we first have to understand the first thing is that the white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of, right? And if we're going to get on any debate topic of what the Black woman ain't doing and what the Black man ain't doing, if you don't first acknowledge the core issue, the root of that, the reason why we at odds with each other, if you don't first acknowledge that the white man is the culprit and his way of life and his society is the reason why we fight against each other, guess what? You don't really have the answers for Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. You know what I'm saying? You just want to get on the internet and berate each other, right? And our enemies is sitting back and looking at us as we berate each other. You know what I'm saying? We have to understand that he is the cause and the reason why your father's not at home, why your mother's a whore, why your kid's on drugs. You know what I'm saying? Because everything has a beginning and everything has an end, right? So if we understand that this current state was not our beginning, well, we got to find out what caused us to be like this then, right? So let's get that in Mark chapter 10, verse 2, Baruch.
So I got it.
All right, you got it, word.
The book of Mark, chapter 10, verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
And the Pharisees came to him and asked him, is it lawful for a man to put away his wife?
Right, the Pharisees tempting him. Right, Khan. Pharisees are the religious leaders at that time. These are the ones that sat in Moses' seat, right? Which are all Jews or Israelites at that, right? So these Israelites is coming up and questioning Christ, Hamashiach. You know what I'm saying? The Messiah who came to teach us the spirit behind the law and how to properly keep all the commandments. So they asking them one law in particular, right? Is it lawful that a man should put away his wife, right? What is another way in saying that today when it in terms of a marriage?
Sluck.
Go ahead.
They're asking, can we divorce?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Get a brother a hand. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you have divorce rate within our community very high. Right. The divorce rate is very, very high. Right. That's if they even get married. Right. Let alone having a single parent household. Right. The Lord made it to where a family is supposed to stick together with the man, the woman, and the children. Right. Read on.
Con out of one con. Verse 3. And he answered and said unto them, what did Moses command you?
Well, guess what? Christ knew the law. Everything that Christ taught came from the Old Testament. You know what I'm saying? And he's about to cut these Pharisees and giving them proper instructions on how to properly keep the law. Read on.
And they said, Moses suffered to write a bill of divorcement and to put her away.
Right, because at one point, right, when Moses commissioned that this law be within our nation, is when we was coming out of captivity under the Egyptians, right? We was in the wilderness, and this is when we became a nation, right? And we have a whole set of laws that's written up in the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Moral laws, ceremonial laws, you know what I'm saying? Laws on offerings, right? All type of laws that's written up, dietary laws, right? And one of the laws that these Pharisees are asking about Christ is it okay that a man divorce his wife? Should a man separate from his woman? Or should a woman separate from her man? You know what I'm saying? And yes, Moses did write that while we was in the wilderness. Now keep that in mind, right? That's the current, the current situation at that time, right? Read on.
Verse 5. And Yahushua answered and said unto them, for the hardness of your heart,
For the
he
what?
wrote, for the hardness of your heart.
For the what?
Hardness of your heart.
Of your heart. For the hardness of your heart. What is Christ saying here? All right. Moses did write that law. All right. Why did he? Go ahead.
Because I'm gonna take a jab at it. Shalaki. Because from transitioning from being a slave coming out of Egypt to going into the wilderness, you probably had a lot of men's wives bucking up against them, just not following order, not trying to follow them, just being dragons. Men probably couldn't deal with the stress at that time. So Moses, just to have control of everything, keep things under control, he probably wrote them that, hey, all right, well, she ain't trying to follow you, and she ain't trying to make it to the promised land. Just write her a bill of divorce, just get rid of it, because y'all keep coming to me every other week talking about my wife ain't this, my wife ain't that, just to appease the people.
Khan, that's a good answer. Go. You want to give it a shot at it, Austin? The shot?
Yeah. So so what's going on is we got brothers and sisters who are not willing to compromise, who are not willing to forgive, who are not willing to love one another. Okay, this is the heart is your mind. Okay, and they're not willing to change their mind, how they feel, how they behave, how they act. Okay, and listen, this is a misnomer in this school. We teach brothers and sisters how to forgive, how to suffer love, how to dwell among one another. And we didn't know that coming out of Egypt and being in the wilderness. We had no clue about how to love one another, how to behave, how to compromise, how to how to be a family. Because we was in Egypt, we was jammed up. So Moses is saying, listen, not just the sisters, not just the sisters, but the brothers too. Them brothers was off, and they wanted to just get rid of their wives.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just so they could go be with somebody else, because that was the thinking. They had the same thinking that the Egyptians had. You had to have one wife. When our law is no, you don't have to have one wife. Okay. So it was the brothers and sisters. They was all. We didn't know how to love one another. We didn't know how to compromise. We didn't know how to, forgive. We didn't know how to suffer, love. We didn't know how to be. And Moses said, okay, y'all are babies right now. So I'm going to suffer you to separate from one another. Because if you don't, you're going to kill one another.
Right.
That's
right.
And
right, man. Listen, y'all brothers, man, that's perfectly put. You know what I'm saying? Y'all put the pieces perfectly together, man. You know what I mean? Like, their hearts was hardened in that wilderness, right? And like y'all brothers mentioned, you know what I'm saying? They didn't understand what it means to show brotherhood and to show love to each other, right? Because what was their main concern while they was in the wilderness? What was the number one reason that the Lord kept on judging us and caused us to be there for 40 years in the wilderness? What was our main concern? What we wanted to do.
Salah, yes, sir.
Go ahead. Go ahead, what?
We were very carnal, so only thinking about food and drink, not knowing that the Lord will provide anything that we need, just as long as that we trusted in the Lord. So
Right.
mostly our carnality and stuff like that.
Khan, you right. Because while we was in our carnality and did not depend on the Lord, who were we depending on to provide us with food while we was in that wilderness? Who do we mention?
Salakia, sir, we wanted to go back to Egypt, so we were depending on Pharaoh because of the flesh pots and the leaks and those type of things. So our belly, doesn't matter how we were treated, but at least our bellies were full. And then I think that's what we thought back in the day.
Right. Khan, there you go. You know what I'm saying? We wanted to go back to Egypt, right? I'm paraphrasing that. Didn't it mention that when we made those statements in the wilderness that we referred to Egypt having the flesh pots and having the good victuals, you know what I'm saying? All the good foods and the good drinks that we can have. So much so that they rebelled against Moses in the wilderness, right? Here the Lord split the Red Sea, right? Got them heading towards their promised land. And in the midst of all of that, their main concern is not getting to the promised land, but rather going back to Egypt. All right. That should tell us what about our people? That spiritually we was Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? Spiritually, our soul and our ways and the way we treat each other and the way we act and the way we behave was the ways of the people that oppress us aforetime or prior to us coming to the wilderness. You dig what I'm saying? Now, let's fast forward that to today. Let's look at what we went through here in America, right? At slavery times. I don't know if y'all heard of this, right? I don't know if y'all heard of buck breaking. Y'all ever heard of buck breaking?
God,
right? If somebody can explain to me what that is, what is buck breaking?
Salaki.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Trooper.
When they would, sir. Is when they would take the biggest male on the plantation and try and tie him to a tree and rape him in front of everybody.
Right. This is something that they did in slavery. Now, at that present moment, think about that being done to a strong black man. You know what I'm saying? Something like that can traumatize him or AKA harden his heart, right? And we discussed in previous classes that trauma is genetic, all right? The trauma that we express to one another, there is a root of all of that. You get what I'm saying? Even how we deal within our relationships, right? They effeminize the black man back in the plantation. And you look at today's time, you know what I'm saying? All our men is walking around effeminate. You know what I'm saying? Putting away their wives just so they can deal with another man or do something weird like that. You know what I'm saying? You also had breeding that they used to do in the plantation. Right? How many of y'all familiar with that?
Come on, sir.
Go ahead.
Breeding. They would breed us like cattle. Like how you would breed two pit bulls together. They would take the strongest man and the strongest woman and breed. And what they would do on times, breed that man back to his own mother. They would put bags over their heads so they couldn't see. And they would that's where the term, excuse my French, motherfucker come from. A slave that breeded with his mother, or a slave master that orchestrated that and breeded with the mother. Like, you know, I don't want to say breeded because I don't want to make our people seem like animals, but we'll take a sister.
Say it. Listen, Stockholm syndrome is needed. We was bred like cattle. Go ahead.
Sorry, and that's the way you get the word motherfucker today. It was about a male slave being breeded back to his mother.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, she couldn't make a conscious decision, right? She nor him could make a conscious decision most of the time on who they decide to fall in love with, right? That was determined by the slave master, right? And think about it today. Let's fast forward to today, right? Imagine how that caused us to choose who we lay down with. Oftentimes, it's based upon the slave master standards and what he deems is great in his society for a woman to choose for her mate, or for a man to choose for his mate. Right? Let's not forget also the rapings, on how they took young sisters, you know what I'm saying? And they will bring them either into the plantation home, parade them around, dressed half naked. After that, they'll all take turns on them. Right? Y'all familiar with that? Right. This is something that they did back in slavery. Now, let's fast forward to today. Right? This is why you have majority of our sisters dressing how they dressing right now. Right? Shaking their behind, wearing little to no clothing, or wanting to be with the oppressor, or wanting to sleep with a white man. You know what I'm saying? That comes from the trauma that stems all the way back from slavery. Right? Now, that's just slavery. That's a few points of slavery. Go ahead, Trooper Canuck.
Oh, no, sorry. I just meant
you got it, Ward.
Back in the day, they would call them bed wenches. When a slave girl would sleep with the master or anybody like that in the big house, they would call them bed wenches. And it didn't matter the age. It's whatever. Even if they had guests at the house that came over that day, and he said he wanted a young girl, they would go to the slave quarters, snatch up somebody's 8-year-old daughter, 9-year-old daughter, 10-year-old daughter, and make them sleep with whoever wanted them.
Come on now. And you don't think that don't has any effect to how we are today? Come on now. And that's a heavy point. I don't mean to cut you off, Triple Canuck, but that's a heavy point that you brought out, man. You know what I'm saying? People can't correlate the two. We love to point the finger at one another. Oh, the black man ain't this. He ain't doing this right. You black woman ain't that. I'm going to China, give me some Chinese, I don't know, whatever y'all saying on these damn internet. You know what I mean? When we both need each other for the sake of our nation. And in order to heal, or at least start the healing process, we both have to acknowledge that the white man is the culprit.
That's right.
That slavery is the reason why our hearts is hardening towards each other. Right? And that's the few points of slavery that we mentioned. Even past that, it didn't stop past that. right? You had the Jim Crow era.
God.
You know what I mean? You had brothers like Emmett Till who got beaten and murdered for even what allegedly whistling at a white woman, which the white woman later on confessed and said that was a lie. But it was outlawed to even look at a white woman, let alone whistle at her. You know what I'm saying? Well, how do you think that trauma affects us today? Right? These things was done unto us that altered our way of behaving, right? And we taught our sons and daughters to move like this, to act like this, so they don't suffer that same consequence that they seen Toby go through on a damn plantation, right? And as that child grows up and they begin to produce children, they'll teach their children the same thing, so they don't have to suffer the same thing that they went through in Jim Crow, right? After they grow up, they teach their children the same thing, so they don't have to suffer what they went through in civil rights, right? Each generation had to go through it. You know what I'm saying? And it was passed down with generation to generation to generation. And all along, we still have not noticed that the white man is the cause of all of it, man.
That's right.
Right? And it has nothing to do with hatred or the color of his skin, right? It's the injustice of it. Right? If you're going to go through a certain traumatic experience, such as slavery, such as Jim Crow, lynching, our babies being fed to alligators, and through all of that, still receive no retribution or no justice for it, guess what? You might as well be dysfunctional. You might as well just do what you want to do, get high, you know what I'm saying? Because you have a pain, an internal pain that has never been healed. So that's why we oftentimes love to blame each other, right? When we're not each other's problem. You know what I'm saying? Even with the feminist movement, right? That started out with white women.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? White women was fighting for that during the time of while we was getting lynched and hung. While we was trying to run away from whitey, the white woman is trying to fight against her man to get equal white rights or whatever.
Right.
Right. And she manipulated the black woman and joining into her battle, right? As if a black man has ever oppressed a black woman, right? It's ridiculous to ever even think that, because a black man has never did the ounce of what the white man has done to a black woman. But yet here she has been manipulated to join some old lily white woman to fight against her man, when all along that man was the protection of that house. Well, guess what? That is a byproduct of white supremacy and slavery, right? The same black man that got buck break and beaten in the plantation, and you taught your little son never rebel against master, you know what I'm saying? Submit unto the woman and be a good boy. Guess what? Generations on down, guess what? It was passed down to the black man of today. And that's why these women walk around thinking that they got us and that they don't need a man. You know what I'm saying? Because all their lives, they seen a man get beat down. But instead of acknowledging who's the one that's doing the beating, you know what I'm saying, they love to blame the black man. You know what I'm saying? Get down also, Trooper Kanaka.
So like it, sir. And heavy to what you brought out, sir, too, when you was talking about the feminist movement. And the only reason why those white women was bucking up against their husband, because they were getting their brains and their teeth knocked out every night. And their husbands was drunk and spending the rent money and causing them to be homeless.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because they had alcohol problems or gambling problems. Right. And that's where the term wife beater come on, because they would wear those tank tops. Most of the white men would wear those tank tops, and they would be the ones that was identified with beating their woman.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's when go ahead.
No, so it's like, that I was just gonna say, like, that's what was going on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
No black woman was getting beat like how them white women was getting beat, and the man losing the home because they had a drinking and a gambling problem. Mm-hmm. That wasn't going on in the black community. But it was going on in the white community, where the white women got together and said, wait, we need to do something about this, or else we all going to be out on the streets.
Right. God, that's exactly right, man. You know what I'm saying? Get a brother a hand. You know what I'm saying? I think that's what caused one of the causes of the prohibition era, right? When they outlawed alcohol, you know what I'm saying? Because one of the reasons was the white man coming back home, drunk as could be, and beating his white woman. You know what I'm saying? And she's fighting against it and politicizing it and taking it to the streets. So they taking whatever, measures of action that they can take. Right. But that was her fight and that was her plight. Right. You had a man at home, black woman. You know what I'm saying? And at one point we understood we had a common enemy. That's what kept us together. Don't go outside. Whitey's outside. You don't do that. You know what I'm saying? That kept us together. Knowing that we have a common enemy, that we're not each other's issue, you know what I'm saying, is what helps unify a family. You know what I'm saying? And our common enemy, black man, black woman, is the white man and the white woman. You know what I'm saying? That's our common enemy. And he has sown seeds of deceit into our brain and pulling on our thought strings and thinking that we are each other's enemy, that we are each other's, that we are each other's fault. No, I'm not saying we have not made mistakes against one another following after this oppressor. Yeah, we might have, you know what I'm saying? But still the root, the core of the issue is what we gain from living under this cruel beast. All right. So let's jump back to Mark and pick up where you left off. And anything y'all brothers want to add as well, feel free to do so.
Got on concert. The book of Mark, chapter 10, verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
And Yahushua answered and said unto them, for the hardness of your heart, he wrote you this precept.
Guess what? Cruelty and trauma can harden your heart, man. And that's all we have suffered here in America. All right. Read on.
But from the beginning.
From where?
From the beginning.
From where?
From the beginning.
From the beginning. Right? So if Christ is mentioning the beginning, then what would we got to do then? Right? So think about it, right? He's saying that they came out of slavery in the wilderness and they was divorcing each other. And the fact of the reason why we were divorcing each other is because we were still behaving like an Egyptian. You know what I'm saying? Treating each other like how we was treated in Egypt. So what Christ is saying, listen, from the beginning. So what is he saying then? What they will have to do in order to learn how to treat each other and love each other and keep the black family together.
Salaki.
Mm-hmm.
They would have to go back and start over from the beginning. Like they would have to find the records from the time before.
They're right. I like that answer. You was gonna say something as well too, young man?
So like I said, I was gonna say the same thing.
Right. So if they practice in Egyptian culture, what they gotta do? They have to go back to their culture. You know what I'm saying? Right. Right now, the way we interact right now is this is not black culture. You think selling drugs and shooting them up, bang, bang, and not being there for the kids is black culture and, moving out on your man. Yeah, that's so black to do. You know what I'm saying? Pound town, booty, all that bull crap. Yeah, that's black. Yeah, that's not black culture. Right? That's American culture. That's white culture. You know what I'm saying? So in order to properly heal ourselves, we have to go back to our culture, who we were in the beginning prior to being a slave. Who were we? What language did we speak? What food did we eat? How did we treat each other? How did the man treat the woman prior to becoming a slave? How did the woman treat the man prior to becoming a slave, or following after Egyptian culture, or following after American culture? This is the things that we got to ask as a people in present time today. We so quick to blame each other, but we don't even know who we are. If we're going to learn how to treat each other, let's start with doing it within our own culture. Because society got it all the way backwards, man. If you think this is black culture, what you seeing on MTV and on BET, you got yourself sadly mistaken, man. Black culture is found in the Bible, right? So let's go to the beginning, right? Let's start. Somebody grab me Genesis, where the Most High took the rib out of Adam. I want to start from that beginning, and then I'm going to jump to another beginning point. All right, whenever y'all got that.
God, sir.
All right, you got it, Ward.
Khan. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam.
He did what?
And he slept.
He caused a what?
A deep sleep to fall on Adam.
A deep sleep to fall on Adam, meaning what?
Salaki, sir.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't aware of the events that's gonna happen to him,
Right.
Sort of in a way.
God, get a brother a hand. He was not aware, right? The book of Genesis is mainly written in allegory or metaphor. You know what I'm saying? It's spiritual talk, right? To understand what it's really talking about, guess what? The Bible describes itself. Ain't no, get in tune and get zapped with this information and you got all knowledge. If you read throughout the Bible, it explains itself, right? The deep sleep is simply talking about Adam not being aware of what is about to transpire, right? Read on.
Khan. And he took one of his ribs.
He did what?
And closed up the flesh instead. He took one of his ribs.
Read on.
And closed up the flesh instead thereof.
Right. What does it mean that he took out this rib? Right? Was the Most High performing surgery on Adam? He split open his sides and broke out a rib and formed a whole nother species. What does it mean he took out his rib?
Salak, sir. The Most High took someone from his family, like a cousin or second cousin, to be his wife, to be Adam's wife.
Perfect. Precept.
Salaki, sir, can I paraphrase?
Go ahead.
As where Laban said to Jacob, "Thou art my bone and flesh." I'm just looking for.
I'll take it. Yeah, get a brother a hand. You know what I'm saying? Right? So from the beginning, that tells us what? Before we started looking at each other as individuals and different type of species, right? And we just, the woman got to stick together over here and the men got to stick together and be passport bros over here. And before all of that, in the beginning, in our culture, how do we view each other? Being that Adam's wife was formed from his rib, meaning his bone, his flesh.
So, like this, sir.
Go ahead.
mean that we loved one another. We was tight knitted together. Like we stuck by each other, and we respected each other. We loved each other.
True. All right.
And we was a family, most of all.
I like that answer. I like the latter answer more. You know what I'm saying? We your family, right? And to put it more in particular or more specific, brother and sister. You know what I'm saying? The family. We share the same blood. Imagine if we kept that concept in our minds. You know what I'm saying? That the black woman that you're talking to is your kinfolk, is of your family. You know what I'm saying? As a woman, the black man that you're talking to is your kinfolk, is of your family. You know what I'm saying? We'll learn how to treat each other a lot more better, right? Because we treat each other too expendable, right? Because we don't hold the gratitude of actually having a family, right? The value of it. So when we meet somebody, it's just like some old regular person that you just came across. Well, this is somebody that's of your flesh, of your bone, your family, right? And what do the scriptures say in regards on how a brother should treat his family, or how a sister should treat her family? What does the law say?
Slack, yes, sir.
Go ahead.
You should love your brother as yourself, or your sister
Get that man,
as yourself.
Get that man ahead. Right? That's what the law says. Right? So when we go through these scriptures of brotherhood, when we go through these scriptures in regards to morality, all of that stuff, guess what? That can also be applied within your marriage, within your relationship. You know what I'm saying? Going to them and them alone when you have a disagreement. You know what I'm saying? Good in counsel when you have a disagreement. Making sure you say the right things that come out of your mouth. All that things is what's written in the law of brotherhood. Well, guess what? The woman that you married to is your sister. Guess what, sister? The man that you married to is your brother. And in order for us to stay together, we have to be brotherly and sisterly towards each other. All right, let me get Tobit real quick. Hold that. Let me get Tobit 8 and 7 real quick.
Slack, you said Tobit 8 and?
Yeah, Tobit 8 and 7. 8 and 7. Most High in Christ. All the Aki I'm hopping on. Most High in Christ. Anybody that wants to hop on, man, the link is in the chat, the YouTube chat. Click on that link. You free to hop on. Brothers, sister, whoever, child, you want to hop on the live stream, click on that YouTube link, y'all.
Come, sir.
All right. Who said whoever said it first, you go ahead. I'll let
Khan. This is
okay. You got it. You got it. Bro.
All right, Khan, sir.
All right. You go ahead.
This is the book of Tobit, chapter 8, verse 7.
Mm-hmm.
And now, O Lord, I take not my sister for lust.
What?
But uprightly, I take not my sister for lust.
Mm-hmm.
But uprightly.
Right. I'm pretty sure. Khan, if I could just pause you there real quick, just give y'all some context. Y'all familiar with the story of Tobit, right? All right. Right. The main thing that we also have to take from the story of Tobit is how his father told him to make sure you marry a woman within your nation. Right. So we know that this is talking about Israelite and Israelite relation. Right. So now he's getting marry a sister who had all type of problems prior to meeting Tobit, right? And he's praying to the Most High. And in this prayer, he refers to this sister that he's about to marry or this woman that he's about to marry as his sister. You get what I'm saying? Now, of course, I'm not saying go out there and marry your kin, your people that's in your immediate family and all that. But we have to view each other. I'm talking about spiritually, on how we deal with each other. It has to be on a level of a family, a brother or a sister, according to the laws of God. Right? Read on.
God, I don't want to come. But uprightly, therefore mercifully ordain that we may become aged together.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Because that is the purpose. Right? Not to divorce, not to get rid of each other, not to go cheat and sleep out on each other, but that y'all may become aged together, keeping the family together. And the only way we're going to do that if we become sisterly and brotherly towards each other. Right? In the beginning, this was our culture. This is how we interact with each other. Right? We did it according to the laws of brotherhood. Right? Let me also get Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Let's see what else is in our culture.
One time, sir.
All right, you got that word.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 54. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
Right, pause that right there. Can you jump me down to verse 56?
Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you.
Pause that right there. Can you jump me back to 54, Babu Kashan?
So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
Jump me back to 56 one more time.
The tender and delicate woman among you.
So that should tell you what, right? Prior to us being in this current state and our hearts was hardened, how was our hearts towards each other?
Salaki, sir.
Go ahead.
We were tender and delicate towards each other.
Right. Our hearts were soft towards each other. Right. And that consists of what everything that Officer Nashak said earlier. Forgiving each other. Right. Being kind towards each other. Compromise. Communication. Compassionate. Empathy. Being considerate of one another. That's what it means to have a tender heart, to be delicate. And this is how we used to treat each other prior to being savages here in America. Because that's all we learned from the white man's society. That's all we learned from religion, and that's all we learned from Christianity. Selfishness hardens your heart. Greed hardens your heart. Envy hardens your heart. And you soak all of that in from this society, especially in that Christian church. Soon as you're not happy for one little second, God forbid that man don't make you happy for a millisecond. Guess what? Your heart becomes hardened against him. All right? You begin to despise him. Right? And vice versa with the man as well, too. Let that woman do one thing, one little thing against you. You know what I'm saying? And your heart begins to despise that woman. All right? But what we have to do is be retaught our culture, retaught our identity, retaught our customs, and how to deal with each other according to our own standards, not to the white man's standards. And the standard says that we have to soften our heart. We have to forgive each other. We made some mistakes. I understand. The black woman should have never got part of the feminist movement. I understand. The black man should have never, what they accusing of, Nashak? Of not being shit. That's what, there we go. The black man should have never done that. I guess, whatever they accusing us of. You know what I'm saying? Listen, we messed up. All right. Now, what we have to do is be willing to forgive each other, soften our hearts. And as a black man, you know what I'm saying? If a black man is willing to say, I'm sorry to a black woman, guess what? Accept that apology. Because that black man is going through hell just like you, sister. You know what I'm saying? And you have to have enough compassion to understand the root of the issue. Have enough empathy to understand the root of the issue. Because prior to all this mess that we're going through in our households, guess what? This is how we was. Read that one more time, Trooper Canuck.
Sir. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate.
The man that's tender among you, very delicate. Somebody that you viewed as compassionate or that's willing to show forgiveness. All right, jump me to 56 real quick.
The tender and delicate woman among you, which will not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness.
Right, and the woman as well. Right, for delicateness and tenderness, the woman as well. You know what I'm saying? The one that you seen as the one full of compassion and empathy and, you know what I'm saying, trying to treat each other the right way. All right, and the only way we understand these attributes is through the laws of God. There's no way of really truly learning selflessness without the laws of God. All right, because of the hardness of our hearts, our desires will have it to where the hell with that. I ain't got to deal with this. You know what I'm saying? But God teach you what love truly is and how to soften your heart. Right? And without it, this is the result of it. Let's finish up 56 real quick.
The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness. Her eye should be evil towards the husband of her bosom.
Her eye shall be evil towards her husband of her bosom. You know what I'm saying? And this is what we have today. So we have. Right? You go on social media, that's all you see. All right, within the black community. It's dying down a little bit now. You know what I'm saying? But at one point, man, I ain't want to go on the internet because that's all you seen at one point. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that we portray in our day-to-day life. We walk past each other like we complete strangers without a care in the world for each other. And really, that's your brother and that's your sister. You know what I'm saying? And it's needed for us to stick together. The black man needs the black woman. And guess what, black woman? You need the black man. There's no way around it. We need each other. Because both of us provide something that we can't provide onto our own self. You know what I'm saying? There is something that a black man provides that a black woman can't provide. And there is something that a black woman can provide that a black man can't provide. So guess what the Lord did? Put us both together to balance it out. All right. So what we have to do is go back to the beginning, back to our culture, and find that balance on what the Lord said to do and not what society says to do. Right? Let's jump back to Mark 10.
Sir.
Got it. And anything y'all brothers want to add too, man, feel free, man. Get down. Please. Go ahead.
Well, if I may then, sir, since you opened up the floor. Like real quick, like what I wanted to say is that these artists, these musical artists, like the female rapper, they're teaching our women to use men for money, to have promiscuous sex with any and every man that likes them.
Mhm.
To say F a nigga, you don't need a nigga. But the ones that are really making these songs, like Cardi B and Beyonce and other, they in full blown, they married, they in relationships,
The irony.
right? They got a family,
Come.
and the women that listen to these and take this to their mind, they can't see that. They can't see that. Okay, well, yeah, she telling us to do this, but you got a whole husband.
It's crazy. It's hypocrisy at its finest. It makes no sense at all. Right? But yet, you know what I'm saying, our women will follow after that. And we got to understand that the Jewish man is pulling all the strings and forcing them sisters to rap about that garbage. So they can make it. But I'm not excusing it. You know what I'm saying? But the hypocrisy of it is they go out there and rap about that stuff when that has nothing to do with their reality and their lifestyle. Right? I seen an article where one of the city girls said that she will never raise her daughter to be a city girl. That she gonna be a schoolgirl when she gets older. Stay in the books. But meanwhile, she on a song, real ass bitch, get a fuck about it, nigga. That, all that crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta understand, like, this is what's detrimental to our nation. Right? This is not an asset to our nation. Right? You might gain wealth for rapping about that stuff, right? But what about us as a collective, as a nation? Right? Why not have a family? That is more valuable than having a couple millions for shaking your behind on the screen. Be a mother. Be a mother. That is the greatest office a black woman can be in. You know what I'm saying? And that is the office of motherhood. Right? The greatest office a black man can be in is maintaining that black household. You know what I'm saying? We don't need a black man in a White House. We need a black man in every black house. You get what I'm saying? Because that man is very much needed. It's wealth. You know what I'm saying? That's the goal of that house. That's the fortitude of that house, man. You know what I'm saying? And we needed to build up this nation. You know what I'm saying? So that was a heavy point, Warrior. I didn't mean to cut you off. Anything y'all brothers want to add as well, too, man? Get down. Go ahead. I see you want to say something in the shot. Yeah, I seen you. But no sweat. Let's continue. Go ahead. I'm messing with you this shot. Go ahead.
I just wanted to add to what Chukwukanak said about Cardi B and Beyonce. Both of their husbands cheated on them, and both of them took them back.
That's crazy. That is crazy. B-Rod, he on the screen talking about to the left. As soon as that bitch made a whole album talking about how he cheated on her, and she still stayed. She drove herself crazy. Made a damn album called Lemonade and breaking stuff all over the house and doing all type of craziness on the TV screen. You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't want to lose her man. But she feeds you that garbage and you soak it all up. You eat it all up and think it's reality. It's not reality. You know what I'm saying? The reality is that child needs his father. The reality is that child needs his mother. The reality is that we need each other. Because the white man who the devil the Bible speaks of is going to make sure of it that we never come together. Because as soon as we fix these families, guess what? That means we're going to fix our nation.
Right.
Once we fix our nation, guess what? That's when we're going to be over his nation. And you think your oppressor wants that?
No.
You know what I'm saying? He's doing this on purpose. He wants the Beyoncés. He wants the Cardi B's. He wants all of that. I seen Officer Yawasop mention as well, black exploitation movies. You know what I'm saying? All of that stuff, man. Put it on the TV screen. Put it everywhere in your face. You don't think that programs your mind in a certain way? The things that you see? You know what I'm saying? Think about all the information that you restore in your subconscious throughout the day. I mean, you seeing everything. You know what I'm saying? Eventually, you're going to act on those thoughts that you have stored in your subconscious. You know what I'm saying? And the white man knows that. He knows how to make things look appealing and make it look fun So in your subconscious, you want to be a part of it and do and act on it. You get what I'm saying? But this is something that is detrimental, not only to your own self, but to your nation. Turn away from all that, grow up. You know what I'm saying? Eventually. Turn off the damn TV, turn off all of that. All that's not real. Grow up and build, do something impactful once in your life. Build a family. Be a brother and be a sister. So that way we can get out this captivity, man. So yeah, that's all. Anything your brothers want to add as well, but continue on with the scripture.
Kind of. The book of Mark, chapter 10, verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
But from the beginning of the creation, God made them male and female.
And how did he do it? By family, by bloodline, by teaching us the law, statute, commandments, sisterhood, brotherhood, by softening our hearts. This is how he did it. This is our culture from the beginning prior to slavery. He created male and female to be with each other because both of y'all need each other. You know, no independent, I can do it by myself. That's a lie, sis. You're lying to yourself. And I see right through it. You know what I'm saying? You're just hurt. You know what I mean? At the time they dealt with some cat in the past and he broke her heart and now she full out, don't want to deal with nobody. You're just hurt. You know what I'm saying? How about you heal yourself? The whole purpose of life is to live out to your full potential. Well, if you're harboring all these emotions and feelings from stuff in the past, you know what I'm saying, you'll never be able to live out to your full potential. And being a great wife and maintaining your husband, you know what I'm saying, and being a great mother and a sister. You know what I'm saying? Heal yourself, and this is how you heal. By learning your culture, learning your identity prior to becoming a slave. Right? Read on.
Come. For this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife.
What does that mean? For this cause shall a man leave mother and father and cleave unto his wife. Remember what a nation is a collection of?
Sir Salaki.
Go ahead.
It's saying that in time, a man and a sister will come together to make their own family. Like they will be joined together and make their own family. You get married and make a family.
Exactly right. You know what I'm saying? It's basically, you know, in black and white. He'll leave his family, she'll leave her family, and they'll create their own family. Right? And that's how it continues to grow and grow and grow into a whole nation. And from the beginning, this is how God ordained it to be. All right? Read on.
Come. And they twain shall be one flesh.
They shall be what?
One flesh.
What does it mean, twain? And they twain shall be one flesh.
It's like,
go ahead.
The two of them. It's two of them. So
right.
When they come to get, it's like,
no, I'm listening. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just them two become one.
Damn right. You know what I'm saying? Them two become one. It is something of that importance to the Most High. It's not a light thing. Right? And we're not talking about walking down the aisle, holding a ring, dressed in all white, while some homosexual priest say, now you may kiss the bride or you may kiss your husband. Nah, that's not what we're talking about. Right? Since the beginning, right? Like in context of what we're reading of in Mark, since the beginning, what did marriage consist of in our culture? How did Adam marry Eve? Go ahead.
It's lucky, sir, by having sex with Eve.
Get it, brother, man. You know what I'm saying? This is what made them one. Now, let's fast forward to today's culture, today's society, under this oppressor. right? He deems marriage to be a piece of paper. He deems marriage to be some ring or dressing in their all white dress, when none of that holds any value to the love that that man has for that woman, or vice versa. All right, their bond is fortified through the sex that they had. All right, and that's something that we should place value on over a piece of paper, over a ring. Right? If we understood that the person that we lay down with, that we are not to separate from and be with them forever, guess what? You would understand the value of marriage and actually appreciate the person and take your time to get to know them. Right? If you know you're gonna be with them forever, you're gonna have to do what? Somebody bring it home. What you gonna have to do? If you're gonna be with that person forever, if somebody can give me this, I know you in the zone with me.
Salaki.
Go ahead.
You gotta have sex.
I see where your head is at.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm talking about after that. You know what I mean? Let's say you do that. You dig? And y'all with each other forever. Well, guess what you're gonna have to do, right? Because I got you real quick, Louis. You right? Yo, man, I got you real quick. I just want to prep it up with this, right? Because in today's society, we don't see it as that, right? You can have sex with one person, leave them, and have sex with another person, leave them, and have sex with. We just have sex all around the world, or whatever we want to do. So much though, we got niggas with passports trying to have sex with some old damn heathen, rather than sticking with the black woman in the ghetto with her. You know what I'm saying? Right? Because this is how we view sex in today's society, with no value. Right? But imagine if we understood and were taught that it was something, a bond that we cannot break, that unifies a man and a woman forever. Well, guess what will we have to do in that span of time of forever? Go ahead, Louis.
So, like, I was gonna say, they're gonna have to love each other, and
which is true. But I need the context of what we breaking down in this scripture. What they gonna have to do?
Con, sir.
Go ahead.
Just make that box brand new.
Make your body brand new. Which is true. What they gonna have to do? Go ahead, young man, Lou.
Salakia said they have to soften their hearts.
Man, get this brother a head. Give this brother a head. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to soften your hearts. Forever is a long time. It's a long time now. You know what I'm saying? Well, guess what? There's gonna have, in between that time of forever, there's gonna have to be a lot of forgiveness, a lot of compromise, a lot of long suffering, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of compromise, a lot of long suffering, a lot of forgiveness, a lot of compromise, a lot of long suffering, if we're gonna make this last forever. You understand what I'm saying? Because that's how God ordained it to be. The person that you sleep with, you know what I'm saying, is yours forever. And you better make it last forever. You know what I'm saying? What that brother Keith Sweat? Make it last, you know what I'm saying? Make it last forever. You know what I'm saying? Well, we gotta learn how to do that. Soften your hearts according to God requirements, according to what He taught us within our culture. Right? Read on.
Kind on one kind. And they twain shall be one flesh.
Mm-hmm.
So then they are no more twain, but one flesh.
For one flesh, right? Read on.
What therefore God hath joined together, let no man put asunder.
Guess what? God made the black man for the black woman. God made the black woman for the black man. And when I say black, of course, I'm talking about all tribes. Hispanic man for the Hispanic woman for the Hispanic man, Native woman, all that. Or even mixed in between. Native man for the black woman and for the Hispanic man and all that. All the 12 tribes. You know what I'm saying? God put that together. He grew us into a nation through our families. Right? And what the Lord said, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. What does the word asunder means?
So like,
Go ahead, soldier.
to separate.
To separate. God ordained us for us to be a family. You separate that, you're going against God. All right? You walk out on your man, you're going against God. All right? You get rid of your woman, you're going against God. All right? You berate that black man and kick him out the house and say he ain't nothing. Guess what? You're going against God. Because you're destroying his nation and what he put together. You know what I'm saying? So whatever God put together, let no man put asunder. And this is how we're going to build back the black family. All right? Issue number one, the first point is what? What we got to do? We got to first acknowledge what?
That the white man is the devil.
There, right? Get it, brother. Right? We got to acknowledge the root of the issue. That's the first thing that we have to do. Stop blaming each other. Acknowledge the root of the issue. Right? Number two, what we got to do? We got to go ahead, soldier.
Love one another.
We got to love one another according to the laws of God, right? Understanding our culture, understanding who we are prior to being under this devil called the white man. We have to learn our culture. And after that, the third thing, the last and final thing we have to do is what?
Salagia, sir.
We
have to soften our hearts to each other.
There you go, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we're going to build back the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian family. Those three sequences, guess what? We can never fail as a nation. You know why? Because our families will be strong. All right? So that's it on that, unless y'all brothers want to ask anything else or add anything else. Please feel free to do so. All right, so the next topic I wanted to jump into is the topic of titles. Right, titles, labels, right? The titles of, like, you know, what you could think of, like a supervisor, manager, a boss, king, queen, father, mother, brother, sister, you know what I'm saying, deacon, pastor, you know what I'm saying, or even self-proclaimed general, you know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? We got all of that going on, you know what I'm saying? Niggas is bishops, deacons, and generals all at once. Who told them that? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But titles is a must. You know what I'm saying? And because of our ego and wanting to worship ourselves, we cleave onto the titles rather than the action that's behind those titles. Right? So let me grab where it mentions in the scriptures, woe unto the Pharisees, for they love to be called rabbi and father and be greeted. Y'all know what I'm talking about? I think that's in Matthew. Was that thunder?
Colonel Khan, sir.
Man, is it raining over there?
Not yet. Not yet. It's just thundering.
All right. Oh, yeah. I mean, I see some comments too. Salakia, yo. I didn't mean to skip over your comments. Obviously, Yawasop said it's why the things we learn in school don't actually teach you anything about how to live and be successful. The curriculum fed to our kids versus oppressors' kids is night and day. Big fact, man. You know what I'm saying? That is very, very true, man. They don't teach you the basic necessities of nation building, of nationhood. Right? They teach you how to be a better slave unto their society, to cleave better, or cleave stronger unto their society. what I'm saying? But things be the Most High. Our culture has never left us. As long as we have these scriptures, always revert back to our culture and start from there.
It's lucky.
We cleave to one another. Oh, you got that for me, Roy?
Con.
All right. Let me just read this real quick. Also, y'all said you gotta first choose wisely, then you gotta constantly work with the one you choose. Damn right. Take your time. If you know sex is marriage, take your time. There is no excuses when it comes to God. Person you sleep with, guess what? They are yours for life. All right, take your time. You lay down with them. Now make it work. Soften your hearts. Forgive each other. All right. All right, you got that, boy. You go ahead.
Con. Matthew 23, verse 13. But woe unto the scribe and the Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against man.
What?
For ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against man. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. 14. Woe unto the scribe and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye devour widows' houses, and for pretense make long prayers. Therefore ye shall receive the greater damnation.
Right. If you could, Baba Kasha, if you can jump me up to verse 2 is where, and now all this is good. If you read through this, Christ is cutting into them Pharisees, right? But let's get some context of who these Pharisees are and how they move in the time of Christ. All right, you got that real quick?
Con. Matthew 23, verse 2, saying, the scribe and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat.
The scribe and Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So what does that mean?
It's like they pretending to teach the law, but they're really not.
All right, because Moses' seat is what? To have the laws, right? Moses gave us what? The law, statute, commandments.
Con.
You know what I'm saying? And they sit in his seat, meaning as the authority over those laws, statute, commandments. Right? These are the ones that have the records and the laws in their hands, and they supposed to act on that according to what God said. Right? They are the leaders of that time of the children of Israel, so-called leaders. Right? Read on.
Verse 3. All therefore, whatsoever they bid you observe, that observe and do.
Right, whatever they bid you, meaning what?
Whatever they teach you.
Observe and do, right?
Con.
Right. Why is he saying that?
Because it's the law.
Right, because how you know they will be teaching that? How you know they will be teaching out of the law?
Because it's what Moses, said to do.
Because they're in Moses' seat.
God.
Right? They're sitting in Moses' seat as the authority over Israel with the law. You know what I'm saying? And they telling the people what's in Moses' law on what to do. And Christ is not saying the law is done away with. Don't listen to them. Christ says, yes, keep the law. What they telling you is exactly right. As a religious leader, as long as they saying it out of the law, it's exactly right. But there's a catch-22 to that. Read on.
That observe and do, but do not ye after their works. For they say and do not.
Because here's the problem. They may say the things that's written in Moses' law, but the problem is they're not even doing it themselves. But they're a Pharisee. You know what I'm saying? They got this social status of being a Pharisee and sitting on top of the nation of Israel with authority and power, governed by the Roman Empire. They telling us what to do, but yet themselves they don't even do it. Right? They are a bunch of hypocrites, even with their title. All right, read on.
Verse 4. For they bind heavy burden and grievous to be borne, and lay them on man's shoulders, but they themselves will not move them with one of their fingers.
Right. And now look, the beauty about what we're reading about right now, that it perfectly correlates of what we go through today. Right? Who are the religious leaders of today in the black community?
Israel.
Salakia. Israel. Who else says Salakia? Go ahead, Trooper Kanat.
The pastors.
The pastors. Christian church. Right? You can go in any black hood right now, right? And you'll find on one street 5 different churches. Right? They are supposed to be the moral compass within our community. You dig what I'm saying? Like, they're supposed to set the moral high ground or the moral standard within our community. I mean, don't they have the word of God? And everybody's trying to seek some type of salvation from God or some answer from God, right? If you have 5 different churches, that neighborhood should be ran according to how God wants it to be ran. You know what I'm saying? But these people who have the Bible and sit as leaders within our communities, guess what? They don't do a damn thing for our communities, but yet they'll place heavy burdens on us. For an example, they tell you to pay $10,000 so they can, put it towards, who knows, right? To show your face, right? They'll make it so compelling and provoke you so much to do it, you know what I'm saying? And they don't even tell you the cause of it. Right? They place that heavy burden to give you all the money in that church, but meanwhile, let you have no groceries in the refrigerator, and you come up to pastor and ask him for a damn $5 so you can probably get some groceries or do something, buy some Pampers for your baby. You know what I'm saying? He will tell you, well, you're not praying hard enough. Right? It must be something wrong with your faith. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's because you didn't sow that $10,000. See, if you would have sowed that $10,000 seed, you know what I'm saying, everything would have grown and prospered for you. Man, listen, they are the Pharisees of Christ's time. Right? There is nothing new under the sun. History definitely repeats itself. And your pastor is what we're reading about right now. Go ahead.
Verse 5. But all their works do for to be seen of man.
So why did they do what they do?
To be seen of man.
To be seen of men, right? Because you know what it provides them? It provides them with that ego and that puffed upness and that pride that's placed behind that title of a Pharisee. That's placed behind that title of a pastor and a deacon, where they feel like they have no obligation or no moral responsibility to take care of the nation as long as they stand behind the title of a pastor. You know what I'm saying? Well, guess what? We have a valid charge against every pastor that's out there in the black community. You know what I'm saying? One nickel dime that gets sold on the corner, guess what, pastor? It's your fault. You know what I'm saying? One black man that gets shot in the street in a drive-by or some gang violence, guess what, pastor? It's your fault. And guess what? Here's the problem. Not one pastor will have the guts to ever stand up, you know what I'm saying, and say, yeah, it is my fault for what's going on in my community, and it's time to make a change. Not one pastor will say, I take full responsibility of the reason why our community's in the condition that we in today. Not one pastor will ever say that, man. But guess what? The bucks stop with them, man. Right? They love to do what's seen of men. They love the glory and the praise and the title, but don't do none of the work. You know what I'm saying? Somebody was going to say something?
Salakia, sir. I want.
Go ahead.
Now, I just wanted to say that these pastors, they don't even take responsibility for the things that happen in their church.
Mm-hmm.
When brothers and sisters, are cheating on their wife, or sisters cheating on their husbands and stuff like that in the church, they don't even take responsibility for that.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They love to say what the spirit of Jezebel, which is so gay. It's like LGBTQ. You know what I'm saying? The spirit of Jezebel. What does that even mean? Right? The reason why she's being a whore in your church, because you empower her to do so. You are the reason why. Right? Like the scripture saying in the Apocrypha. So as the general, I'm paraphrasing, so is the officers. So as the king, so is the citizens. Right? Whoever's in charge, guess what? He sets the atmosphere for everybody that's under him. Well, guess what? Your pastor that's being in charge, he's setting the atmosphere of whoredom, of adultery, of homosexuality, of jealousy and hatred. He's stirring up that pot. And when it happens in the church, he'll never take accountability. When it blows over on his church, he'll just sit back and just say, well, that's the devil. Satan, get out of here. I rebuke you. Ha. You know what I'm saying? Well, you're the reason why it's like that. You know what I'm saying? Because they take on that responsibility of having that title, but not really living up to it. You know what I'm saying? And this is something that we can all take from, right? Like we always practice in Brotherhood class, introspective, right? Even on a base level, right? When it comes to the title of a father, the title of a brother, you know what I'm saying? Don't just be one in the sight of man. Don't just be one when people are around, right? Be one when nobody's around. Do what's right all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it really means to be a father, a brother, a sister, a mother. You know what I'm saying? A cousin, an uncle, right? Making sure that you do what's right. Right? Read on.
Khan. They make broad their phylacteries and enlarge the border of their garments.
Boy, they look so nice on the outside. They got the Steve Harvey suit, the gator shoes. They got them tight ass slacks. Boy, them slacks as tight as can be. They don't even reach the bottom of their ankles. You know what I'm saying? It stops mid-calf. I think the higher the rise, the flyer it is. I don't know. The higher the rise, the flyer it is. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no flood outside, but they prepare. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? They focus on the outward appearance. You know what I'm saying? But you have to focus on what's within. You know what I'm saying? Because through your action is what you're exposing who you are, what's really within you, not what's on the outside, right? Read on.
Khan, sir. If I may, sir, I wanted to know what that word phylactery mean. I look it up. You want me to bring it out or keep going?
Yeah. Bring it out. Because you got it.
Yeah, I look it up in the dictionary. It's a small leather box containing Hebrew text on the volume, worn by Jewish men at morning prayer as a reminder to keep the law.
Right. You know what I'm saying? And now, of course, we're not Jewish at all, right? And when we used to have these bands, it would resembles of how we rock it today, like an armband.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? A Jewish man would have some weird strap wrapped around his hand and a box on his forehead and all of that weird Jewish stuff, you know what I'm saying? But according to our council, we rock armbands and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And brothers will have the law written on their armband. Right? And these Pharisees will make sure they have the nicest bands on their arms, make broad their phylacteries. They look so holy with all the scriptures on there. You know what I'm saying? The fringes is swaying down. You know what I'm saying? They got the nicest outer appearance as a Pharisee. Right? And when you fast forward to today, man, that's so talking about your Christian pastor. Right? So the water for that definition word.
Verse 6.
Go ahead.
And love the utmost rooms at the feast, at feasts, and the chief seats in the synagogues. 7. And greetings in the markets, and to be called of men, Rabbi, Rabbi.
Right. Rabbi, what does that mean?
Does that mean teacher, sir?
Teacher, right? They love that title of a teacher, of a rabbi, right? A master. Read on.
Verse 8. But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ, and all ye are brethren.
Guess what? Christ is the one that is the master. All right. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't just live it through the title alone. You know what I'm saying? But by his great sacrifice, he earned that title, which is well deserved and pudding for him. You know what I'm saying? And we have to pattern our behavior after that, not chasing the title, not chasing the office of a bishop or a deacon, you know what I'm saying, or some self-proclaimed rank that these weird groups is doing out here. You know what I'm saying? That's not what it's about. It's about your actions. What are you doing for his nation? What are you doing for his people? That's what it's all about, right? Read on.
Verse 9. And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your father, which is in heaven.
Right. You know what I'm saying? The title of a father. Now, of course, we have physical fathers, biological fathers, right? And we call them fathers all the time, daddy or pops or whatever you call them, right? So that title do exist. You know what I'm saying? But there's many people that don't live after that title. Right? You got people in the Catholic Church, Father this, Saint this, Father that. You know what I'm saying? All these priests this, right? But they're not living up to that standard through their actions, right? Read on.
10. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is greatest, Slakia, among you shall be your servant.
Shall be your what?
Shall be your servant.
Shall be your what?
Shall be your servant.
Shall be your servant. Christ, our King, came not in the form of angels, but came in the form of man. So that way he can succor us in our times of temptation. All right? And in doing that, now we understand what it really means to be a rabbi, a father, you know what I'm saying, a brother, a sister, not by title alone, but by behaving as our King required us to behave, right? For time's sake, I'm going to drop that. And for the last topic, I want to get the power of words. Let me get James chapter 2 real quick, and I'm gonna try to breeze through this joint. Time's sake. So the last topic is the power of words I want to touch on. Making sure you watch what comes out your mouth. Nah, chapter 3. Chapter 3, matter of fact. Baruch.
Okay. Got it, sir. James 2, verse 3.
No, James chapter 3. Start me at verse 2. Chapter 3, verse 2.
3, verse 2. For in many things we oft offend all. If any man offend, not in words, the same is a perfect man.
The same is a what?
A perfect man.
Same as a perfect man. But guess what, brothers and sisters? You know what I'm saying? Y'all love when y'all get angry to say whatever comes out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? What comes out your mouth do matters. All right, like Christ said, for every idle word shall thou be judged. You know what I'm saying? Whatever perceiveth out your mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's not what goes into a man's mouth, but what comes out of man's mouth. You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure that you choose your words carefully. Right? Read on.
and able also to bridle the whole body.
Right. He is disciplined. She is disciplined. You able to control your mouth, you can control a lot of things. Right? You can help yourself get in a lot of situations if only you knew how to control your mouth. Right? Read on.
Verse 3. Behold, we put bits in the horse's mouth, that they may obey us.
Right, that little bit, that little metal piece that's in a horse's mouth, that they may obey us. Meaning, you turn. There's a latch that's attached to that metal piece. You pull it one way, guess what? The horse will turn that way. Pull it another way, the horse will turn that way. You pull it both back, the horse will stop. You know what I'm saying? That's what's controlling the horse, so you can, get it to whatever direction you want it to. It obeys you through that little piece that's in his mouth. Right? Read on.
And we turn about their whole body.
Right. Through that little piece in his mouth, you control his whole body. Read on.
Behold, also the ship, which though they be so great, and are driven of fierce wind, yet are they turned about with a very small helm.
Right. The small helm is, if you ever seen in old pirate movies, that little steering wheel joint, they turn around and all that stuff. That's what's directing that great ship. That little small device is directing that big ship that gets moved with the fierce winds and all of that stuff. It redirects the big covers on top of the ships. You know what I'm saying? It redirects it when you turn it, so that way it can move along with the wind and the direction that you want it to go. That little device. Right? Read on.
Whithersoever the governor listeth.
Right, whatever you want it to go. Right, go ahead.
5. Even so, the tongue is a little member of.
Right, even now, out of those comparisons, the small bridle in a horse's mouth, the small helm on a huge ship, right? These are small devices that control the whole body. The same thing with your tongue and with your mouth. It's one of the small members, one of the small parts of your body, right? Read on.
Even so, the tongue is a little member and boasteth great things.
And it does what?
Boasteth great things.
But guess what? It can puff you up, come out proud sayings and doing things and saying things that you're not supposed to be doing. And it can 9 times out of 10 put you in a circumstance that you don't want to be in. Right? The scriptures say, right? A fool is considered wise when he holdeth his peace. I'm paraphrasing. Right? Meaning this. You want to know how somebody is wise? Well, how do you know that? Well, let me say it like this. How do you know that somebody is not stupid or not a fool? How would you know?
It's lucky, sir.
Go ahead.
Keeping their mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. It's really that simple. Right? We've been taught that since grade school. If you have nothing good to say, don't say nothing at all, right?
God.
You know what I'm saying? Well, even in your grown age, you got to learn when to shut up and learn when to speak. And by the words that come out your mouth is how people will know how, you're just a dumbass. You get what I'm saying? Learn how to just keep it shut if you know that you're not up to that standard. Listen, not everything I think of is wise and smart and all of that stuff. Well, guess what? I have to filter that out of my brain and make sure what comes out filtered through my mouth is perfect and righteous. But if I'm thinking of something stupid, I'm not going to just blurt it out. And it's going to cause me to look like a fool. Now, that's been happening sometimes to me. I done said some stupid things. I look as dumb as could be. You know what I'm saying? But with time, eventually, you're going to have to learn yourself and learn when to shut up. Learn to keep your mouth closed. Because words do have a strong effect. The same way a bridle has effect on a horse and a helm has effect on a ship, guess what? Your words have the effect that can control life or death. Right? Read on.
Behold, how great a matter a little fire kindleth.
Right. A little fire kindleth. Right? Your mouth is the spark to that fire. Read on.
Verse 6. And the tongue is a fire, a word of iniquity. So is the tongue among our members, that it defileth the whole body, and setteth on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire of hell.
Right. It can cause you your own destruction. Right. Somebody pull up the definition of self-sabotage for me real quick. What time is it, if I may?
8:29, sir.
Okay. Somebody pull up self-sabotage real quick. Self-sabotage. We got to get that quickly for time's sake. Go ahead, soldier.
When the people do or don't do things that block their success or prevent them from accomplishing their goals.
You said when the people do? Like, that's the definition that you got from self-sabotage?
Salakia, sir.
Okay.
Behavior is said to be self-sabotage when it creates problem in daily life and interfere with long-standing goals. The most common self-sabotage.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's one. Did anybody else have any other ones for self-sabotage? Time's sake, I'm gonna just go ahead and. All right, self-sabotage is when you commit or create within yourself or in your life something that's detrimental that you created yourself, right? Meaning you're the one that created this problem for yourself, right? When somebody says certain words out of their mouth, it can cause them to self-sabotage certain goals or ambitions that they're striving for, right? They cause this onto themselves by not controlling the words that come out their mouth, right? When you get put in a situation that you didn't want to be in, right, what you have to do is first examine yourself and try to consider what you were saying in order that caused you to be in the situation. You got to understand your mouth is very powerful. Pause. So like the words that come out your mouth is very powerful. You know what I'm saying? And you have to understand there is life and death that comes out of your mouth. You can get great success, not even by skill. If you just learn the right words to say at the right time, that's one of the things too, learning the timing of when to say it. You know what I'm saying? That can put you in opportunities that even skill can even put you in. You know what I'm saying? Because there is power in what you say. So you got to make sure you always filter out your thoughts before you say it. Always. Right? Don't fly off the handle, or else you're going to self-sabotage. All right? And with that, big up, man. Austin the shot. Trooper Canuck. Young man Carvel. Young man Lou. Everybody in the chat, man. Water, everybody. Make sure y'all subscribe to Isupk Orlando. Make sure you follow us on social media as well, so that way you can be in the loop of what we got going on, man. Because you know it's summertime. There's a lot of that's gonna be going on. So make sure you stay in touch. Class will continue on the same channel. All right. So with that, oh yeah. Also too, if I may mention, if you want to join the school, right? Start wearing all black. If you're a brother, wear all black boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. You know what I'm saying? And with 90 days, you can get your Hebrew name. And for the sisters, make sure you come in here with a headscarf and ready to learn pen and paper. All right. With that, say shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
Shimmy Shah Rock a thumb.
It's your thumb.
Yeah.